Hello, this is episode 3 of Cult Confessionals. Today I am joined by
Emma Ruemmler.
And Emma is the current president of the Medieval Combat Club at SIU. We're just going to be talking about everything Emma. Why don't we just go ahead and go over what you guys are doing in Medieval Combat Club?
Yeah, so right now normally we just do normal practices. So we're a boffer sport, which means we hit each other with foam weapons. So we just do normal practices. We'll have line fights, with lines and people on teams. We have dodgeball with the death ball. It's a rubber playground ball, and we just hit it at each other. And if you get touched by it, you're dead. We have free-for-alls, and then just a bunch of fun little games and stuff. Then personally, I arch in medieval combat. We have a bunch of people doing spears, just normal sword and board, that type of thing. Then a lot of planning for some future events we have going on.
What kind of events?
So we've got 3 events coming up in April, plus our realm's birthday, which is great. We're the Realm of Carthage, 10 years. I get to make our founders feel old, which is awesome. We're hosting our Punic Wars event that I think second weekend of April 15th. So basically it's going to be a massive day event that we're hosting. We've been fighting with the rec about it for a bit, but it's fine. It's going to have we don't know which games we're going to be playing yet because Fumbles, who is our head marshal, he has to decide. One of them is probably going to be a pylon battle where it's essentially 4-corner, where you have 2 pylons diagonally from each other, and then 2 flags diagonally from each other, and you have to push over the pylons, and they're death pits in the middle, so you have to go diagonally or around these death pits.
Oh.
So it's a lot of fun there, and we also have some that's Golden Idol and some other stuff they were telling us about. So that's going to be one event. Following weekend, we're going to be at SalukieCon, so should be fun. I'll be running the table, and then we'll be having mock fights for that. And then the weekend after, we're going to the Sally Logan Library in Murfreesboro because they have this little Renaissance festival, and they asked us to come back this year. It's essentially us with just a bunch of small children. Last year, I think we had a toddler on the field, with their parent at least, but still.
I mean, it's bound to happen, I guess.
But still a toddler, so.
Yeah, still.
Yeah, so we have those 3 big events coming up. And then our realm's birthday, so we're kind of just rolling that into Punic Wars.
Okay.
Yeah.
So definitely a busy time for Combat Club.
Oh, yeah. And then I get to be the one organizing all of it. So that means I get to go around and talk to all of the SIU officials to figure out what we're doing.
So as president, are you mostly organizing the events and just making sure things go?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm essentially the autocrat / the face of the club. So I'm the one who's talking to all the officials, I'm the one who's designating and delegating between our other officers, and I'm the one who's kind of just being here's what's going to happen when. Granted, I do usually leave a lot of the day-to-day club running up to my vice president, Ash. Mm-hmm. She's very good at running the club and can actually be heard because I personally cannot yell loud enough. And when we're in the rec, you cannot hear me at all.
So how long have you been doing Combat Club?
So I started doing it last year, fall semester. So that was my first year here at SIU. I tried out for 3 different clubs. I'd gone to Quidditch, and I'd gone to Anime Kai. Quidditch was interesting. It was a little bit intense. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't want to do this. Felt a little too much like rugby. And with Anime Kai, I liked it, but I was like, I don't want to just sit and watch anime. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to be in my dorm.
It's completely fair.
Yeah, and then I went to Medieval Combat, and I was like, this is interesting.
Much preferring the hitting people with foam swords, bats, and arrows.
Yeah, to Quidditch. Plus, the perk of it was also we don't just fight. We have a lot of crafting on the side.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. But we do a lot of crafting. So I learned vaguely how to do chainmail.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. I ended up making a dice bag.
Actually, thinking of the art side of Medieval Combat, what all do y'all do?
So this is when I'm learning a lot of these, actually, trying to. We do chainmail. We do leatherworking. We do a lot of foam smithing. Mm-hmm. So I can go into that because I'm learning a little bit about that. We also do some fiber arts like belt weaving and various fiber arts, crochet, that type of stuff. Yeah. The big one is foam smithing. That's basically how we make all of our weapons. Mm-hmm. You can buy them or you can make them. We use a lot of blue camping foam or pads, those puzzle mat foam, all that stuff. And you essentially just are hot gluing it on and duct taping and hoping it works. It is a lot of that. I'm working actually on a back shield right now.
So you can just make the different adornments, and a lot of the leather working in chainmail is armor usually?
Yeah, so right now we had one person last year, his name was Colin. He's a former president before me. He actually had a full chainmail shirt he would fight with.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't think we have anyone who wears a lot of leather right now, but like Ruby and Thur, who are both our knights, they're actually the founders of the club. They both have a bunch of leather stuff. There's a lot of rules and specifications in our Book of War, which is essentially our rule set, about how thick leather can be, how like thick a ring can be for chainmail, and all of that stuff. It's really cool, especially when you get that armor. The issue is that especially with chainmail, it gets heavy.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to be really strong to wear chainmail and then still fight.
Yeah. I bet. It's a endurance sport.
A lot, yeah. We have, so our older fighters are generally around like 30 to 40 because, especially with this sport, since it's so physical, you are wearing your body out fast. With a lot of our older fighters, I'll just do wars of attrition on them. So like if I take their knee, they'll be legged and they can't really move. I'll just circle them until they get too tired and they kind of just stop.
Yeah.
And then I'll kill them.
Personally, I did do combat last semester with y'all, so I'm aware of the general rules and where they all come from. But could you go ahead and just generally explain how, like, the rules that you guys play with are where they're coming from, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, of course. This is actually perfect because I need to be practicing our spiel anyway.
Oh, okay.
So thank you. So a lot of our our rules come from the Book of War, which is our just giant rule set. So it's so long. It's all legalese. But we have different, I'll start with just the different types of weapons. So
Okay.
we color code our weapons because we're nerds like that. We have blue, green, yellow, and black.
Yeah.
So blue weapons are slashing weapons. They're your swords, your bats, your glaives, anything where it's like you hit on a horizontal front, vertical front, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Then you have green weapons. Those are your stabbing weapons. Those are your spears, your stab tips, your arrows even.
Yeah.
And then you have, well, I guess arrows aren't projectiles, but whatever. You have your yellow weapons, which are projectiles. Those are your javelins. Those are fun because those are, I'll get into that later, but those are just fun. Your black weapons are one-shots. If you get hit with the black weapon, you are dead immediately, no matter what. So essentially what happens with slashing damage and piercing damage. Slashing is blue and piercing is green. So it's essentially, if you get stabbed, that's a pierce. If you get slashed, that's a hack. And so slashing damage, that actually makes you lose your limb. Whereas with piercing damage, you kind of just dangle it. And you're like, you can't use it, but it's not dead. And so if you lose 2 limbs, then you're dead. But if you're pierced, you can have all of your limbs pierced and still be alive. So that's made for some fun fights where someone's just going around 2 arms pierced and a leg pierced and trying to still just stay up.
Yeah.
That has definitely happened. But if you get hit in the body, which is essentially shoulders down to hips, that is also death. And then jabs are fun because they're both a yellow and a green weapon. So you can throw them as well as stab with them, but it has to like clear its distance. So you have to basically throw it 1-2 jab lengths in order for it to count.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you're just not throwing them dead on.
Yeah, it's not like I can hit you sitting right next to me.
Okay.
Yeah. With arrows, they're fun because they're piercing weapons. So I can shoot every limb off someone and they're not dead. It's the same thing.
It's the Black Knight.
Yeah. But the funnest weapons are rocks. They are black weapons technically, black and yellow, because they are thrown. They're like 4 by 4 inch foam, essentially like little stuffed things. They're stuffed with foam. They're only head legal, so you can only hit people in the head with them. And if you hit them, it's a one-shot death. But if you hit them anywhere else with this rock, it doesn't count. And you can have some really fun rock designs. Brendan right now wants to make a bumblebee, and Ruby has a cup, like a drinking cup.
Oh, like a what are they called? Like a mug?
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
So, and hers looks like a Viking tavern, like
Yeah.
something you'd see out there, which is great. But yeah, and then essentially, if you lose an arm, get hacked with one, you put it behind your back. If you get hacked in a leg, you have to go down on a knee or you post, which is you just kind of plant that in one spot and don't move.
Okay.
So that's kind of a lot of stuff and fun stuff. And then the only head legal weapons are arrows, jabs, and then rocks.
And we've covered a lot of combat. I
Yep.
would like to inquire about what you do personally.
Okay.
Just generally some things you fill your free time with.
Right now, a lot of sleep because, second semester, a
Yeah.
lot. But otherwise than that, like to play video games a lot. I started playing Cozy Grove, which is essentially a lot like Animal Crossing, but you're helping spirits crossover, which is a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm trying to do some more fiber arts. I'm learning how to do some belt weaving, which is a lot of fun. I'm also like to go to hammocking a lot because that's nice. I'll go out by the lake and do some reading if I can, and it's not windy like today. Always a lot of fun. And then just that type of stuff. Once I get my cat back, hopefully it will be a lot more time with him, and I might get a cat leash for him.
Oh, walk around the cat?
Walk around with the cat.
Do you do anything other than like fiber arts or anything just fine art-wise?
Art-wise? So do not draw. I'm learning how to do some foam smithing. That's kind of it. I learned chainmail a little bit. I know how to play drums and guitar. So, like, I have a guitar in my room right now that I should be practicing a little bit more.
That's
yeah.
fair.
Also, while I was working at the Ren Fair over the summer up in Bristol, I ended up getting an ocarina. Wait, important question. Ocarina or ocarina?
I say ocarina.
Okay. I'll switch between the two, but I feel like it's an important question to ask. But, yeah, I ended up getting an ocarina, what have you, from the Ren Fair over the summer. So I'm learning how to play that. And hopefully if I can have it ready by SalukiCon, I'm going to be going as Zelda. So I'll bring that ocarina with me and annoy people.
Like doing costuming is an interest then?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, height of the pandemic, I was doing a lot of cosplay because I just needed something to fill my time. So I have some stuff with that. And then now I worked at the Ren Fair over the summer, so I have a lot of like medieval garb that I don't wear it as often as I probably want to, so I might start wearing it a little bit more as it gets warmer.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to keep working on like doing chainmail and stuff?
I want to. I have to figure out where I can buy rings. That's the biggest issue right now because they usually don't come pre-cut.
Makes sense. So to make chainmail, the general process is you're cutting and attaching the rings?
So how I learned it was at least to make it, you had your rings like on a big coil, and so you had to cut off each individual ring.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's like where the last ring you cut, that's where you would start, and then you just keep doing that. And then you would take 2 needle nose pliers and you would bend it, and then you would insert it into the other ring that you wanted to put it in, and then you would bend it back.
You're just creating a loop of rings continuously?
Essentially, yeah. There's different weaves. Like I was doing a 4-on-1 where you essentially had one ring where you put 4 other rings on, and then you kind of just let it go, and it looked like a little frog. And then you would attach a second ring to like the top 2 rings from that little frog. Mm-hmm. You would attach another ring into that in the middle, and then you would kind of just keep going.
Okay, so it'd spread out.
Yeah, it would.
I'm imagining like frog in like a flower kind of shape.
Kind of, yeah. So it's interesting. There's a bunch of other ones that I have not learned yet that I want to learn. Mm-hmm. The issue is that a lot of people I'm learning from, or with chainmail specifically, is Thurret, who's from Medieval Combat, and he's possibly leaving. We're all very sad about that.
Oh.
Yeah, that's all I'll say because I don't know if he'll listen to this, and this is his news to tell. But he's a big boy and graduated, big grown adult.
Well, we love Thurret in these parts.
We do.
So, wish the best, but...
want him to stay.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's a lot what I'll do, especially with chainmail, so it's a lot of fun.
And then with foam smithing, is there anything that you are currently looking forward to or currently working on? Yeah,
so right now, from Bailey and Jesse, they sold me one of their back shield, cores to their back shield, so essentially just like a piece of foam that they already had.
Yeah.
And so they're helping me put more blue foam on it, like new foam, and construct that.
Okay.
And then we're going to go through a process called plasti dipping. I honestly do not know how that works. I am going to learn about it on Wednesday. I know it's kind of like a hard outer shell to the shield, and then it kind of creates a raised image. So Bailey's right now, she has a plasti dip shield that's an octopus, very much Cthulhu-esque.
So generally, the process for making all the crafts that y'all do, it's like the chain of teaching.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, that's how it works a lot, especially with medieval combat, which is, 90% of my interesting personality. But that's how we did it, at least, especially since we do have people like Bailey. She is a master artificer. She actually just got her mastery back in October. She has been teaching us. And then she was actually my retainer when I first started. She was basically the person who introduced me to the sport, got me to my first event, helped me make my first garb, all of that stuff. And then, so especially if you want to become like a knight or a master, you do need to go through that process of having like the master-student relationship. With us, it's just they're here and they know what they're doing. They were a part of the sport when it first got created. Okay. So they were still going when it was foam noodles on like PVC pipe. So they want to make sure we're safe. And I don't know about you, but I always find it's easier to learn from someone when they're there versus like a video.
So going from the foam noodles on the PVC sticks, there are definite more, I want to say, comfort rules or just general precautions ready now.
Yeah, the Book of War, it's very specific in how much a weapon weighs, how much it flexes when it gets hit, how much a foam has to be. Mm-hmm. There's stuff about arrows and jabs. If something fails with like the pommel coming off, especially as time has gone on, there's become a lot more safety precautions.
Mm-hmm.
Even the type of foam that you can have for a weapon is very specific.
And this is a larger organization that is coming together and talking about these rules, amendments, everything like that.
Yeah, so that's actually our big umbrella organization. We are part of the sport of Belegarth, which there's multiple other sports like Dagahir or Amtgard. That's all nerd politics. That's how it was described to me, at least. But we're part of Bell, so that's kind of our nationwide thing. It's a lot of just in the Midwest, although apparently there are some realms in Hawaii, which is pretty cool. And then there are people who actually vote on this. That's actually something I'm looking at becoming our council representative. So the people who vote and do all of that are called the Ward Council. And if you're a voting or a speaking realm, you have a Ward Council representative who will bring all the issues from the Ward Council up to the party, up to the realm. So Jesse or Thurrett, fighting name or real name, whichever one you want to use, right now is our Ward Council rep, but since he is, possibly leaving,
yes,
I am talking to him about actually taking over the role. The issue is that this is going to really make me seem young. A lot of it is on forums, Facebook, all that stuff. I don't know how to navigate as well. I am a part of the age of social media, and then even then, it's still just learning all of the forums and all of that.
Would you say War Council is generally full of older people, or?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I assume it's full of more experienced fighters.
Okay.
Yeah. I know Numenor which is the realm up in Urbana-Champaign.
Yeah.
They have their realm of Numenor, and then they have the UIUC Sword Fighting Club. So they have their whole realm is governed by their knights, who are their oldest fighters, most experienced.
Okay. And the War Council generally will also come together and then do the events?
Usually events are actually hosted by realms.
Oh, okay. So
I don't think we have any one big event. It's pretty much there's the realm of Wolfpack up in Bloomington, Illinois.
Okay.
They have their whole Wolfpack opener. We have Punic Wars, which is our event. There's one in Indiana, which is Armageddon. So actually, I might have to backtrack. That one I think might be a Bell entirety event. I don't know if it's run by a realm or if it's run by broader thing.
Okay.
That's one I'd have to check, because I know it's that Armageddon's over the summer, and it's just can't remember right now. Yeah.
So those events are just hosted by different realms that are willing to have the space for it?
Yeah, pretty much. What's good is that it kind of gets people out to the realm, and at least for us, it is our attempt at a fundraiser.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because we're required to do that. But also for us, at least for smaller realms like us, because we're a realm of maybe 15 to 20 people, it's kind of a way to get our word out and our name out, because I'm sure a lot of people see us practicing out on Morris Library lawn and are like, what is going on?
So what would a Belegarth-related event look like between Realm or just any large event like that?
So we have two types of events. We have day events, which is what we do with Punic Wars, and then we also have camping events. Mm-hmm. Day events are pretty simple to explain. It's kind of like with SleekyCon, you just have one big day of stuff. For us, like I said, we're running multiple games. Sometimes vendors will come out. We have multiple people who make weapons, like Forge Foam or forgot the name. I got a weapon from them recently. But Gorg the Blacksmith, that's who it is. Yeah, sometimes you'll have people come out to sell their weapons, trade crafts, all that type of stuff. Camping events, it's more. So you'll usually have to pay an entry fee. It's multiple nights, usually a Thursday to a Sunday. You'll have, your normal line fights, all of that type of stuff. You'll also have people set up camp tents, all that stuff. Definitely drinking that goes on. What else is new? You also, though, will have sometimes with the artificers who are kind of art makers, they will have competitions sometimes. That's where you'll see the artificer competitions for best leather piece, best chainmail piece, that type of thing. You'll also see different clans, so that's kind of just subgroups within Bell. Within realms, you have the Valkyries. That's kind of an all women, feminine, mm-hmm. that type of thing. Anyone who is essentially non-male is allowed to join. Okay. And it's that type of thing for fighters who are maybe not comfortable fighting men who are twice their size or that type of stuff. Because sadly, we are still a little bit of a not misogynistic sport, but
just mostly male.
Mostly male, and there is some, still a little bit of misogyny in there.
Okay.
But so that's kind of some stuff. There'll be a lot of camping like that. So you'll usually camp with some friends, with your clan, with the realm. Sometimes what will happen is with knights and squires, if a squire is going to become a knight, they have to go through their knight's trials. So sometimes you'll see stuff like that where you'll see they have to marshal, which is essentially referee. They have to check weapons. They have to do troll, which is all the waivers, all that stuff signed. Mm. Or even they have to do what's called grind fighting, where they have to fight a bunch of people. I think Thurrett's knight took knighting, one time you had to do like one for 2 hours. So it's essentially you fight until no one wants to challenge you. So you'll see stuff like that at Numenor. Well, at least for a day event up in Numenor, they had a new person tournament too.
So generally it seems like a growing community for one, but also a community that is pushing to be more inclusive and just ready to interact and just have fun.
Yeah, I mean, definitely community ready to just interact and have fun. I like to think that we're all growing more inclusive. I'm still relatively new to the community. I've only been here for 2 years. So a lot, also what I've heard for camping events is secondhand. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go to our Oktoberfest event this year, but I like to think that we are. It all does also depend on realms, because each realm is going to be governed differently. So, like, we're a realm of very new people versus, like, Numenor, which is a realm of knights where they have a bunch of, like, hard and fast training. And then also even different realms where it's, like, you have more AFAB or front-presenting fighters, or even, like, smaller fighters, versus realms where it's more larger AMAB, you know, just different types of fighters, different fighting styles.
So to just generally go over, if someone were interested in getting into Combat Club, what would the way to go about it be?
So best way is just show up to a practice, which are Mondays and Fridays from 6:30 to 8:30 at the rec center at SIU. We're at Court 7. We're so non-committal. Please come. But also, even we have our Discord, which I guess she'll put in the episode description. That's where we have everything. We do also have a Facebook, all that stuff, but we're not using it because we're all young. So basically, best way to start is just show up to a practice. Me and the other officers, we're all happy to go over stuff with new people. A lot of us have our own specialties. Like, I specialize mainly in archery. I'm happy to teach anybody. So, like, even if you come and are like, I just want to watch, or I just want to learn this one thing, we're happy to show. And even if you just want to come for the crafts, like, I know at least one person usually sits out. We call them the Maiden Circle. So that's kind of the best way. And then if you're not in the area, we have the Geddon Wiki, which just is spelled GEDDONWIKI, you know, fun stuff. That actually has realm locators.
Oh.
And so you can look up for your specific area of what realm.
Okay, that's pretty useful, actually.
Yeah, it is. I was looking it up today because I had to message several realms to be like, hey, do you guys want to come to Funicores? So that's the fun part about being the autocrat.
Emma, thank you for joining me today on Cult Confessionals. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we end?
I mean, I'm good. Like I said, if you want to come to Medieval Combat, we're very much welcome to new fighters. So we are happy to have anyone out.
All right. This has been episode 3 of Cult Confessionals, joined by
Emma Ruemmler.
Thank you, Emma, for joining me today. And thank you, everyone who's listening. I really appreciate you. And I'll bring it back. Have a cultish day.